إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الأولين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الآخرين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في كل وقت وحين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين وارض اللهم عن آله وعن الصحابة والتابعين وارض اللهم عنا معهم أجمعين. يا أيها الناس اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون فإن خير الحديث كلام الله خير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. أما بعد, my topic today is something that everybody in this room has become all too familiar with. I know you've come across this topic today, and it's barely even 1 o'clock. But because we are so used to seeing this, we're so used to hearing about it, it's lost a little bit of its gravity. We don't center this topic in our lives. It kind of passes. When you're driving, you're at home, you get home from work, you hear about it and it doesn't affect you. Now specifically, the topic is death. And subhanAllah, it affects every person here. But when you really center it and you think about it the way Rasulullah advised us to, when you remember the way Rasulullah ﷺ spoke about death, which is the goal for today, just to remind us of 2 ahadith that speak about what happens after we die. And that's it. What it's supposed to do is change how you act. It's supposed to impact your life. So inshallah, that's my plan for today, is to go through these 2 ahadith. And the reason that death matters to think about is because it's the only certainty that we have. There's many sayings and hadith and ayat, and again, everybody has heard these things. But truly, our life is one uncertainty to the next. How many people were with us in Ramadan praying Taraweeh, and on Eid we heard that they had passed? And how many times do we say, next week, next month, I will, when, inshallah, in the future? And people, we see them who are with us in the masjid, and the next year they're not there. And again, every single day you're reminded of death because of what's going on in the world. There's it's a story from a book, unrelated to Islam, but it had this lesson in it, and it stuck with me when I read it. It's a man who's talking about a group of people. He's talking about a city. He said, everybody in this city speaks like this. My son will be a doctor. My son is going to be a lawyer. He's going to get us out of this poverty. He's going to take us somewhere else. And they see these plans happen, and when they succeed, they think to themselves, look at me. I'm an excellent navigator. Look how great of a sailor I am. My plan worked. My vision came true. And then what happens? The wind blows east. And us, our very selves, this has happened to us, from small things to big things. So, the lesson isn't don't plan. The lesson isn't don't have goals. But always remember, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul is going to taste death. So, with that established, Rasulullah ﷺ advised us to speak about death so that we remember. And when we're going to do that, we speak from how Rasulullah spoke. We speak through the hadith. How he reminded his companions والسلام, about death is how we should remember it. He said, أكثروا من هادم اللذات. Speak often about the destroyer of pleasures, the end of this dunya. So my first hadith, it's maybe some that you've heard parts of it, it gets quoted pieces of it. So I'm going to take a few pieces from the hadith. It's narrated by Al-Bara ibn Azib. And he said, عن رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام, a believer who is accepted by Allah, when they die, and everybody is gone, and many of you may have attended funerals where you've seen this moment happen. At first, a funeral is very somber, but then you see somebody you know, you haven't seen him in a month. People run up to each other and hug each other, and they're happy to see each other, and they're laughing almost as they're leaving from a funeral. Like, the gravity of the situation gets lost almost immediately. And so everybody's gone, and this person is alone in their grave, but they're a believer. And so angels come to this person, surrounded by light. And they smell like Jannah. And what they say to the person, they ask him a few questions. But before they ask the questions, which what we're going to focus on, the way the hadith is quoted, there's a dichotomy between the believer and the disbeliever, and I think it's good to focus on. So the first part, the angels come to the person and they say, أَيَّتُهَا النَّفْسُ الطَّيِّبَةُ, O pure soul, أُخْرِجِي إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرِضْوَانٍ. So even before he has to answer any questions, this person knows, my soul is accepted, I'm good. This is in his grave. May Allah, inshaAllah, allow all of us to be among those people who hear these words. The description in the hadith is like when the soul leaves the body, it's like water being poured out of a vessel. When you pour water out, it just smoothly exits the body, like it wants to leave. It's a long hadith, so the soul goes on a journey, and there's a lot of details. You can look it up, inshallah. But the key part is the soul is returned to the body. So it goes up to the heavens and back down to the body. Now the believing soul has to answer 3 questions. Man Rabbuk? Who is your Lord? Ma Dinuk? What is your deen? I'm going to explain deen in a second. And then finally, وَمَنْ هَذَا الرَّجُلُ الَّذِي بُعِثَ فِيكُمْ? And what do you say about the man who was sent to you? Now it's very easy to think of these questions as things everybody knows. There's a Saturday school here at the masjid, there's Quran classes, there's Friday night programs. Little kids who come in here, they probably know the answers. And each one of you sitting in the comfort of the masjid is very easy to think of the answer. How do you answer the questions? Rabbi Allah. Inshallah, we all say this. Rabbi Allah. Dini al-Islam. But a lot of times when we translate deen in English, people say religion. What is your religion? But the word deen is way more encompassing than that. It has a deeper meaning. Deen means way of life, the way that you live, the things that you do every single day. So what do you do every single day? But inshallah, what we say is Islam. Every single day, we do Islam. And then question 3, about the man who was sent to you. Again, it's easy to know, but it's harder to make this be true about us. It was Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I recited the Quran he came with, I affirmed his message, and I believed in it. That's a lot of stipulations after that word. And so the key, if we're trying to answer these questions, if we want to, inshallah, succeed in this test, now is the time to prepare for it. Because you're not going to have time when you're in the grave. His body, it's come back, he's answered these questions. These angels reassure him, this grave of yours, it widens. It becomes a small piece of Jannah. And then the believer immediately says, Ya Rabbi aqim as-sa'a. I want the day of judgment to come. Khalas, I'm ready to go. I'm not attached to this dunya. أيتها النفس الخبيثة اخرجي إلى سخط من الله. The disbeliever hears, O corrupted soul, come to the anger of your Lord, the anger of your Creator. And the soul is ripped from the body. It doesn't exit smoothly because it's attached to the dunya. The soul wants to stay here. Again, the hadith continues. The soul goes on a journey and comes back. And again, angels come. But these angels are surrounded by darkness and they smell like hellfire. And now this person, whether he heard these questions that are going to be asked, these 3 questions, whether the person knows the answer to them or not, just the situation that he's in, he's going to forget everything. When you hear and smell and see these warnings of hellfire, how are you supposed to answer the questions? The hadith says, the person is asked, Man Rabbuk, Ma Dinuk? What do you say about the person who was sent to you? And all he's able to say is, La adri. This is a direct quote from the hadith. I don't know. I can't think. May Allah save us all from being in this situation, inshallah. The dichotomy between these 2 people, it's much deeper in the hadith, and it's explained a little bit further. So my advice is to look up the hadith to see more details about it. But I want to jump to another hadith that also focuses on questions that are being asked to the believers on the Day of Judgment. So technically, there are 7 questions that you're going to be asked before even you take a step. These 3 are in your grave, and the next 4 are asked after. And again, a hadith many of us are familiar with. May Allah protect us, Ya Rabb, from these situations and allow us to answer the 4 questions and the 3 before them. So, this hadith is narrated by Ibn Mas'ud. He said, the son of Adam will not move a single step on the Day of Judgment before he is asked about 4 things. He will be asked, an umrihi fima afnah. So the son of Adam will be asked about his life. An umrihi, how did he consume it? How did he spend it? Again, think back to the meaning of the word deen. Day in and day out, the majority of your day, what are you doing? What is consuming your life? And I say this to remind myself before anybody else. But the world that we live in today, it's manufactured primarily of distractions. Everything that you come across is trying to distract you. As you're driving, there's distractions on the radio, in your phone, displays everywhere. At work, all of it is a distraction, technically. And as soon as you get home, how many screens do you have or your kids have to distract them from what's happening in this world? When I was growing up, like the issue with the phones is people would stay up on the phone because they're talking to other people. Now, your phone, tablet, laptop, computer, TV, all of them are listening to you and all of them are changing what they show you to perfectly distract you from something that actually matters. So we need to think of the ayah, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. That my life, my death, my prayer, my sacrifice, everything that I'm doing is centered around Allah. Now, when I was writing this khutbah, there was like this meme going around. I don't know if this is the appropriate audience for it, but it was really popular. And it was I think he's an Australian brother, and he's going like, ew, brother, ew. And it became like super popular among the kids. But the story of that meme, that like little video clip, is he's actually in a khutbah describing how people react to the sunnah. When you tell them that something is a sunnah, that's how they react. And so the main point of that video is actually true. Often people look down on things that are in our sunnah. Or they say this thing, oh, it's just a sunnah. It's just a sunnah, so it's okay. That's not how you're supposed to treat things that Allah preserved for you for 1400 years, documented for you to see. So that's the first question. How did you spend your life? What consumed your life? فيما أفناه, that word about consumption. وعن علمه فيما عمل به. And about his knowledge. How did he use that knowledge? Not how much knowledge he had. How did he use the knowledge that he had? No matter how little or how great it was. When you listen to a dars or you see a YouTube video, and again, information these days is everywhere. The easiest thing to do is acquire information about Islam. So what do you do with that information? Wow, mashallah. Sayyidina Mus'ab ibn Umair was amazing. But how did the information about his life impact you? How did it change how you treated others? When you read about Rasulullah having a story, alayhi salatu wasalam, about forgiveness, mashallah, that's amazing. And then when you're put in a situation where you can forgive, what do you do? And the examples go on and on. But the knowledge that you have, how did you use that knowledge? How did it change you? How did it impact how you treat other people? When I was writing this khutbah, this story always comes to my mind about Sayyidina Yusuf when he's in jail. The first thing that Sayyidina Yusuf does, now imagine again the story, he's been oppressed 7 times over by this point. And he's put into jail. And the first thing that he does is give people da'wah. He's presented with an opportunity, and these people are in front of him, and he gives them da'wah. This is the first words that he's telling these people. In a situation where you would be completely justified, I've just been put in jail. I don't know how long. I don't even have a sentence. They didn't even tell me why I'm in jail. I'm just in jail. And 2 people come up to me and they're like, oh, hey, you look like a good person. My first reaction is, can you leave me alone for a second? Yeah, I don't have time for this. I have my, please back up. That's how you would react, because you're overwhelmed by this dunya. But Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, his first instinct is, these are 2 people who don't know about Allah, and I'm going to share the message with them. That's how he's using his knowledge. Okay. The third question. ماله من أين اكتسبه وفيما أنفقه. His wealth. 2 questions about the wealth. Where did you get it? And what did you spend it on? In California, I know you spent most of it on your rent. But the rest. How often do you walk into the masjid, and because you're in the masjid, you just put something in the box? You see somebody asking and you give them. Simply because you've been presented with an opportunity to send money to your future, inshallah. You send money to the place that matters. A lot of times the way that shaitan gets you to not spend is to put fear about the future in your heart. You never know. The car, the tires are looking a little weird. The brakes sound funny. School is coming up. We have to save up because Eid, and we have to do this and that and that. If I want to get out of this cycle, I have to start a business, so I'm going to save money for that. That's why I'm not giving to the masjid. There's a lot of excuses that shaitan gives you, but I want you to remember Sayyidina Musa and the situation that he's in, and I try to get this into every single khutbah that I give because it's one of my favorite stories about Sayyidina Musa, where in front of him is the Red Sea, and behind him is an army that's been chasing them out of Egypt. And when he's told, Inna lamudrakun, hey, we're done, khalas, it's time to give up, he says, Kalla, inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdin. As long as I'm with Allah, I'm good. I know there's going to be a solution. I don't know what the solution is. Allah is going to provide it. That's the type of faith you have to have when somebody says, give here or give there, and then the first thing that comes into your mind that shaitan tells you, oh, these people don't deserve it. These people don't need it right now. I already gave. I gave last year. ماله من أين اكتسبه وفيما أنفقه. And now the final question, which I actually moved, so it could be all the way at the end, so I can give it, hopefully, inshallah, the amount of time it deserves. عن شبابه فيما أبلاه. About his youth, the time of his strength, the time where he had time. Now it's easy for us, I don't know if I would consider myself a youth, but when you're speaking to younger people, to imagine that the youth is them. But youth just means the time when you were able, the time when you could, when you can move, when you can attend protests, when you can go to work for 40 hours a week or 60 hours a week, when you can come to the masjid on Friday nights, when you hear about an Islamic event and you can take your family and go. All of that is counted as your youth. All of that is the time when you're able, because there's going to come a time where you can't go. Your body won't let you. Your time won't let you. Your wealth won't let you. At a certain age, you have a fixed income, khalas, you're not able to attend things, you're not able to help in that way. And even in those cases, your role is to empower those people. All of us saw last year during those encampments where the students, they saw this is how I feel, this is the right way, this is the wrong way, and they went and put their limbs, they put their time, they put their education and their futures on the line for something they believed in. And I've been in conversations with people like, yeah, but I mean, what are they really going to change? And I mean, but to their future, but he could be a doctor. When you see somebody who's doing something, somebody who's able to do something, and you're not able to do it, empower them. Give them the support that they need. Be there during the youth group to help them, to guide them. Be there at their events when there's whatever organization is doing something. And lend the support to the youth if you're not able to do the thing yourself, at least. Inshallah. So that was the 7 questions. So I want you guys to be conscious that, again, the khutbah is not for us to say, mashallah, these are great questions. Mashallah, this was awesome. The key is to take something from the khutbah, inshallah, and take it into your actual day-to-day life. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. May Allah accept your istighfar, Ya Rabb, replace your bad deeds with good deeds, and accept us all into Jannah. Allow us to answer these questions easily, and forgive us all our sins, Ya Rabb. I'm here with you today from an organization known as Islamic Relief. The amount of people that need help is endless, and so I want to make 2 appeals. The first is, we have a table outside. Stop at the table. If you can't put something in the box, take something. And before you make it to the Islamic Relief table, the masjid box is right there on your way out. So don't make yourself from the people who didn't receive ajr today for giving. That way you're at least applying one of the answers to the questions, inshallah, and you take another to do in the rest of the week. Khair, inshallah, that's the plan. There's also a brother who passed. We're going to pray. Sorry, I want to give you his name so you can actually make dua for him personally. But we're going to pray Salat al-Ghaib for this brother, but also for the people who've died across the ummah. We have shuhada who, inshallah, people we believe are shuhada, or we ask Allah to accept them as shuhada in Lebanon, in Gaza, in Sudan, in Yemen, the ummah is bleeding in many places. So we're going to pray Salat al-Ghaib after the Jum'ah, inshallah, prayer. It's going to be a quick 30 seconds. So if you can stay after the Jum'ah after that, that would be amazing. The brother, his name is Tariq Muhammad Itani. Jazakumullah khairan. Ya Rabb, accept from us this dua for the people of Gaza, Ya Rabb. Ya Rabb, ansurhum, Ya Rabb. Ya Rabb, bless the people of Gaza and protect them from any who seek to do them harm, Ya Rabb. Ya Rabb, allow us to be forgiven for our shortcomings towards our brothers and sisters across this world. Bless them, Ya Rabb, and grant us a prayer in Masjid al-Aqsa, Ya Rabb. Ya Rabb, accept the people in this masjid, accept their Jum'ah, accept their du'as, bless them in this dunya and the next. Grant them whatever du'a they make during the prayer, Ya Rabb. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين. اللهم اشفنا واشف أمراضنا وأمراض المسلمين وارحم اللهم موتانا وموتى المسلمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم وأقيموا الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.